I'm out here today putting a new trailer hitch on my 2016 Crosstrek. And here's just a look at the hitch straight out of the box. You can see it is pretty simple. It's from the EcoHitch dudes. And what's cool about this hitch is that it emerges from this little butt plug on the bumper. So it'll have that high profile and not be really low. And this is the situation I'm trying to avoid. This is the trailer hitch on my Volkswagen Jetta, and you can see that baby just not only hangs down, but really kind of sticks out. Every time I pull in and out of my driveway, it scrapes. And the installation is really pretty straightforward. You've got 2 bolts on each side and a sequence of washers, and these are kind of like block washers. And these are the lock washers on the bottom and the nuts. And there's the instructions, and there's this fish wire, and that fish wire is used to lower the bolts and the nut down through the body and out the holes on the bottom. And then 2 other things to mention. This is a kind of snazzy replacement for that butt plug, which will go right here. So when I pop this guy out, this will come in there. Again, this is all from the dude at Torklift Central, who just has all the sweet ideas for modding your Crosstrek. And then this is the wiring harness, and I'm going to run this through the bumper. Again, a great idea from Torklift Central, and this is some silicone sealant. So step 1 is remove this little plug here, and just reaching around inside, and there are a couple little tabs you can push down on. I'm going to keep this blue one just in the event the black one cracks or something. I can always use the blue one. There we go. So basically I just cut this little back section out of there. So all this foam needs to be taken out, and it should be attached here with these little plastic brackets, which in my experience break really, really easily. So I'm just going to sort of try to gently ease it out. And it flew out. That one didn't break. And then once I get the hitch installed to install the wiring harness, I'm going to have to remove this stuff over on the left side of the vehicle, driver's side of the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and start popping that off. So right now you're actually looking toward the back of the vehicle. And I'm just going to pop off some of this plastic here. This is not necessary for the hitch install, but I am doing it for the wiring harness. Okay, so again, driver's side, I've got one of these pieces of tape removed, and there's 2 more, and I'm just going to show you where that lines up underneath the car. So again, driver's side, the hitch is actually going to bolt in through this hole and this hole, not the middle one. And you know that if you just look at your hitch, the 2 holes are about 8 inches apart, so those are the 2. I'm going to pop this guy off, and we should be able to see it from up above. And looking down through the hole, you should be able to see that guy down in there. It's a bit of an angle, but you can reach it. All right, let's just talk for a second about this fishing procedure. You've got your bolts set up just like this. You've got the bolt, you've got this slotted washer, and you've got this big old block washer. Those are going to go through in this order, but to do so you need to actually separate these 2 out to get it through the hole. And the fish will attach like this. It goes through the big bolt and actually screws onto the bottom of this bolt, and you've got the washer up above. So in order to be able to get the bolts through this hole, I've got to increase the size, and this is where I'm going to use my step drill bit. And that'll do it. And I'm going to be able to fish through this hole to get both of my holes on the bottom, so I'm just going to open up this one on top. And here I'm just about to initiate the fish. Again, I've got my bolt lined up, I've got my slotted washer here, I've got my big washer, and I've got this guy screwed on really good. And I'm just going to insert the sharp end over and down my hole. Make darn sure it's coming through the other side before you put that washer in there. If you don't, it's going to be really hard to get. And here we are back underneath the vehicle, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you fish that bolt through. So that's it, and the only thing to be really careful about now is not to knock it up back through. And this is passenger side inside the car, and I'm just taking off this tape cap on this hole here. This is the back of the vehicle back here. And just like I did the other one, I just need to enlarge this hole. That's it. It just detaches right here with a couple of bolts, and then it has just a couple rubber hangers. Now the muffler is hung on by these rubber gaskets. If I spray some WD-40 on there, it might loosen up enough that I can pop it off. Oh, there it is. It's actually popped. Oh, there we go. Alright, so you can see the bolts are in place on both sides. The next thing to do is to remove these bumper hangers. It's another kind of cheap plastic gizmo hanging on the back of the vehicle. Right now the camera is underneath the car and we're looking up at the back bumper. So this is the back bumper. It looks like they have push kind of brackets holding them on. And one's right up here. Yep, I'm able to just push that out. And the next thing to do is just to get the hitch in place. So I've got it scooted underneath the vehicle, and I've got my nuts kind of where I can easily reach them. And I've got it kind of stuffed underneath the car on top of a bin, and two of us are going to lift it and get the bolts tightened up. So the hitch is in place, and you can see here how it lines up. It's pretty good. The plastic needs to be pushed down just a teeny bit, like maybe a millimeter when the insert goes in, but it's pretty nice. And if you're wondering about the rings are back here, back behind, right back here. That's where my hooks will go on my chains. And then just for aesthetic reasons, this is the little plug that fits in to fill the hole. And here we are back inside the car looking toward the rear, and I just vacuumed this up. I still got this big open hole right here. These were just covered with tape plugs. I'm just gonna go ahead and cover this up with some Gorilla tape. We got the hitch on, and everything's put together back below. I got the muffler back on, and it's time for the wiring harness. I got two things here. This is the actual wiring harness, and then this is just a little plug that will go into the bumper. And there's just two connections here. This is the plug into the wiring system for the car, and then this is my ground connection. I'll do the ground first and then plug it in. And right behind this panel, if you can see this, there's actually a plug, the plug that the wiring harness plugs into, and there's a little screw hole right back there that you can plug your, screw your ground screw into. All right, so I've got a collection of screws here, and I'm gonna see if any of these guys work. So it's big like this, it's just not the right number of threads. So I don't have the right nut to fit in there. Alright, so now it's grounded to the frame, and I'm just going to reach back in here and plug this guy in. Alright, you got a click and it's plugged in, and the next thing to do is put this inline fuse in place. And I'm just going to leave this here for right now. I'm going to, once I get the rest of it wired up, I'll go ahead and glue this into place. This plug right here, I think is going to give me access to that area back behind the bumper. It's a little bit narrow, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off the sides here. Alright, just going to feed that down. And I don't want to pull this all the way out because I'm going to bundle up most of this wire back inside the car. But I'm just pulling it out a little bit. Oh, that's just right. Okay, so the way this works is this guy comes out here and I'll plug them together. And then this pops in here. Before I pop it in, I'm just going to put a little bit of sealant on it. Just the slightest amount of this black silicone sealant. This will be a teeny bit messy when I squeeze it in place, but then I'll just wipe it off. Here we go. Alright, that looks pretty slick. I won't touch that for a little while as the silicone dries. Alright, so we're back inside the car. So I just pulled this wire, not too tight, but just so that there's nothing loose underneath the car, and I'll cut a little bit. And I'm gonna silicone this little seal right here. And here I'm not worried about using too much. I really want to get a good seal on there. There's nothing worse than getting water inside your spare tire compartment. Bundle this up and stick it back underneath here. And this wiring harness actually comes with some double-sided adhesive just to keep this from bouncing around. So that's it for the installation on this EcoHitch. By far the best thing I like about it is that it's totally invisible from the back. It doesn't look like you've got a trailer hitch on there, and it doesn't cut into your ground clearance. The hardest part by far was getting that hitch up in place. It took two of us, and there was a lot of cursing and a couple bloody knuckles. So that was definitely not super easy. I think if I had to do it over again, I would have pushed the hitch just a little bit more toward the back bumper. I think I had maybe a 2 millimeters or so that would have made the reinstallation of the bumper brackets a little bit easier, but that's fine tuning that you can figure out. Again, I'm totally indebted to the dude at Crosstrek Central. He just does so many great modifications, and I'm planning on following some more of his videos as I move forward with the Crosstrek.